Today you're going to learn how to use Image Playground in SwiftUI. Image Playground is a new Apple Intelligence feature that leverages generative AI to create dynamic visuals based on user input. So as you can see, this app allows you to select an image, input a description, and generate AI-driven visuals with Image Playground, powered by Apple Intelligence. And now let's get started. First, you need to open up a SwiftUI project in Xcode. Over here, we already have it open, and what we're going to start with is importing Image Playground. So import Image Playground. And we're also going to import Photos UI as well, because we're going to use a photos picker here. And then what we're going to do next is remove all of this and leave only a VStack, which we're going to use. And we're going to get started by creating our variables. And we're going to start with the environment variable. So environment like this. And this one is going to check if the device supports Image Playground or not. And then it's going to be called the same thing as well. So we're just going to copy this over. And the next thing we need is a state variable. And this one is going to hold the selected avatar image. So we're just going to call it avatar image like this. And it's going to be optional image like this. So this is going to be the image shown to the user after picking a photo, right? And next, we also need another state variable. And this one is going to track the selected photo from the photos picker. So photos picker item, and it's going to be of type photos picker item like this. And it's also going to be optional just in case you don't choose anything. And then next, we're just going to need another state variable that's going to track the text we input, like the description of the avatar image you need. So input text, and it's going to be an empty string. And the last one is going to be a state variable that tracks whether we're showing the image playground or not. So we're going to call it is showing playground, and it's going to be false by default. Now let's remove the empty lines here. And now we're going to move on to the body. We have a VStack over here, right? We're going to start with the photos picker, which is going to take a binding, and it's going to be this item over here, right? And make sure to add the $sign here. And we're simply going to check if the avatar image is available. So it's going to be avatar image. And if it's not available, if it's nil, that means we're just going to show some random image. Let's say person.circle.fill. Right? So you can see the image right here, which is the person.circle.fill, because we don't have an avatar image picked yet. And we're going to make this resizable, right? And we're going to make sure the aspect ratio is fit. So content mode dot fit. That way it fits the screen. And let's say the frame is width 200 to make it smaller, and height is 200 as well. And let's add a clip shape here to make it circular. And next thing we're going to do is a horizontal stack to add the text field to it and the button we need, right? So we're just going to do H stack over here, and we're going to do the text field. Let's just say enter avatar description. So this is where you're going to add your avatar description, and it's going to take in a binding of input text, right? And now you can see this text over here on the screen, and let's style it better than this. We're just going to do dot font, let's say dot title number 3 and dot bold, right? And then let's add some padding to it. Let's add a background. Let's say we want something like dot black, and then let's add opacity of 0.1. That way it's a gray color that is light. And now let's create our button, which is going to show the image playground for us, right? So we're going to set this to true. And then it's going to take in an image. Let's say system name, and let's say sparkles, for example. So you can see the icon over here. And then let's add some padding to it. Let's also make the background color purple. And let's also make the text white. And let's add some corner radius of 10. And now let's add some corner radius to this one as well. And now you can see this looks good, but we're just gonna add some padding to the H stack over here. And we can actually make the color of the image here purple as well. That way they match the color. Now we're gonna move on over here outside the VStack, and we're gonna check for any changes to the photos picker item. So we're just gonna use the onChange function, and it's gonna take in photos picker item, right? Cool. And what we're gonna do here is like this. And we're gonna start a new asynchronous task, which allows us to load the image data without blocking the main UI thread. So we're just gonna do task, and we're gonna check if the photos picker exists. So if let photos picker item like this, and we're gonna check if we can load its data. So let data equals try, and then await over here, and photos picker item. And we're gonna use this function to check if it loaded or not. Transferable, and type data.self, right? And over here, we're gonna open up curly brackets, and we're gonna move on to trying to create a UI image from the data. So we're gonna do if let image equals UI image, and then it's gonna take in the data over here, right? So if the image is valid, we're gonna update the avatar image with the new image, right? So what this is gonna do is, if any image is picked, we're just gonna update this purple person into the actual image, right? And now we're gonna move on to the image playground. So after the onChange over here, we're gonna do dot image playground sheet. And then over here, what we're gonna do is presented, and then it's gonna take in a binding of is showing playground, right? And then the next thing we need is the concept, which is gonna be our input text, and then simply the source image, which is gonna be the avatar image, right? So that means you're gonna use the avatar image to generate something from Apple Intelligence Image Playground. And then we're gonna close the parentheses here, and then we're gonna take in a URL here, and then we're gonna attempt to load the data from a URL. So if let data try data contents of URL, right? And then again, if the data is successfully loaded, so if let image, we're gonna try to create a UI image from the data. So UI image like this, data, just like we did earlier. And then same thing, avatar image, we're gonna assign to it, right? Let's remove this over here. And on cancellation, that means if the task is canceled, we're just gonna reset the input text back to nothing. So we're simply checking over here if any photo is picked. We're gonna try to load its data, and then if we can load its data, we're gonna assign the new image to the avatar image over here on the screen. And over here, we're doing the same thing, but essentially we're just using Image Playground to generate an image using Apple Intelligence. And then if that image loads, we're just adding that new image that is generated by Apple Intelligence to the screen over here, right? So now we're gonna test it out, but the simulators over here don't work with Apple Intelligence yet. So if you try it over here, it's not gonna work unless you have an iPhone 15 Pro or newer Pro model like iPhone 16 Pro. It should work if you connect your device. And if you have an M1 MacBook, it should work by using the Mac Catalyst. So what we're gonna do here is go over here, Image Playground Starter. So you can see here, Mac designed for iPad. Now I've tried this before and it didn't work. So what we're gonna do is remove it, and we're gonna add the Mac Catalyst here. And we're gonna enable this. Cool, and now let's go back over here and we're gonna try the simulator. We're gonna change it to my Mac Catalyst, and now we're gonna run the code and we're gonna see if it works. So it looks like it's working. Now what we're gonna do is try to add an image. So you can see I have a picture here. Cool, and now what we can do is enter something like, and click on the button here, and you're gonna see image playground showing up and trying to generate our input. And it looks like it's working. So you can see the generated image here. And now let's choose one of them and click done. So we're gonna click done over here. And you can see the image show up over here. Now there's one more thing that is missing from our code. So we haven't used supports image playground here. And the way we're gonna use it is very simple actually. We're just gonna go over here in the H stack and we're gonna check if supports image playground is true. And if it's true, we're gonna show all of this, right? That simply will not allow you to use the text field if the device you're using doesn't support the image playground. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you learned something new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.